Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Investing in Stocks for the Long Term. This is Tom. Today, we're actually talking more about short term stuff, talking about fads. How do you profit from them? Fads are a lot of fun, from hula hoops to hoverboards to GoPros, Pokemon Go. A lot of these things are fun consumer products that may be part of a longer term trend, or they may just be, an eight month fad or whatever. So let's talk about let's talk about this. So you want to ask yourself, is it a fad or is it a trend? Now you've got something like Heelys, the wheel shoes that IPO'd in 2006. They pretty quickly were banned in a lot of schools, and they just either weren't cool or weren't able to be worn many places. So the stock crashed pretty quickly. Um, Rollerblades. There was a company called First Sports, IPO'd back in I think in the early '90s, and the projections were that they were going to be everybody was going to be on rollerblades. The management was all on them. They projected their ideas onto everything else. And we're going to talk about that excessive optimism. You see that in almost all of these fads. Now, something that is more of a trend that still was not a good investment would have been GoPro. Fitbit and GoPro were part of trends to a degree. Fitbit even more so. A lot of people still wear smartwatches, but Garmin got into it. Apple, of course, got into it. So you see that they didn't really have a moat. So now I'm looking at even more of just the straight fad products, which GoPro is closer to that. Now, of course, other people sell cameras, but it's just that, which brings me to the main thing of it's hype, it's optimism. It's everybody's thinking, oh, the whole world is going to be doing this. You remember the what do you call those things? Segways. I saw that company just went under in some kind of way. I mean, everybody thought, oh, the whole world's going to be riding on Segways. Obviously, it's not. Rollerblades are harder to ride than most people think, especially around traffic. It's hard to brake. So a lot of people bought them, but the sales growth slowed. The stock went from $6, ultimately was bought out at 1. Now, when you short, if you are going to short one of these fads, you do need to be careful that the sales growth starts to slow down or that the share price starts to drop, because sometimes these things can last longer than you might expect. So, an overvaluation does play a role. Uh, GoPro, for example, was trading at a market cap greater than almost the entire U.S. iron ore industry, Cliffs Natural Resources, U.S. Steel, some of all these other ones. And now, granted, I know commodity stocks stink, but even so, there was no excuse for a camera on a stick to be trading at a combination of all those things. Now, if you are trying to profit on the long side, be aware of these consumer trends. You can probably, this goes back to the Peter Lynch style strategy of seeing a trend before Wall Street sees it. Whether it's playing the Nintendo Wii, whether it's Crocs, people on Wall Street were not interested in these goofy looking shoes. But if you knew people, or maybe you were somebody who liked them, you can see that. And so you can see pretty quickly that, yeah, this might be a fad, but it also, you can ride it up for a good while. So now, overvaluation, optimism. And now there's another category. It may be a fad that gives a boost to an already successful company or product. For example, Nintendo Wii. Nintendo has been successful multiple years, but the motion control was really a fad that took everybody by storm, and the stock took off and ran for a year or two, and then people sort of got bored of motion controls and moved on. And the company has come back with more innovation, so you certainly wouldn't want to short that long term. But there's different categories. You've got some things that are the one product thing, like the Heelys, for example. So that's another thing to watch. Another is it something that's just expanding too fast? That's going to reach a saturation point because the management and everybody's so hyped about the sales growth. For example, Krispy Kreme. I don't know if y'all remember, for a while, Krispy Kremes were just the greatest thing ever. And they were doing some kind of franchise model where each group was getting 10 stores at a time, and it was too much. And Krispy Kreme is doing okay today, but you want to watch out for over expansion. Now, another thing you've got is cult stocks. You don't want to. You can go long cult stocks, but you don't want to go short your cult stocks unless you really know what you're doing. Now, some things have just got caught up in the hype. For example, 3D printing. The 3D systems boom and bust of a few years ago. That I don't think was really so much about them increasing their sales, but it was just hype about the industry. And today we're seeing hype about an industry, i.e. electric cars, Nikola, the reverse mergers, NEO. And I realize, coronavirus is going to help the electric car industry to a degree because people are going to be taking less public transport. We can also see just the cult nature of these stocks. So final category, number 7, would be that it's sort of these half luxury stocks that become uncool once too many people own them. Some stocks, some brands can handle everybody buying it and staying cool. Apple, it's a good product. It's reached that level where no matter what, it's cool. Even if you're not a cool person, you buy Apple, it doesn't tarnish Apple's brand. Whereas Lulu to a degree, Nike to a degree as well. Something like Michael Kors though, Under Armour. First they were hot. Everybody was saying, oh yeah, it's the next thing. But then pretty soon it was like, oh, you're basic if you wear Under Armour. You're basic if you have a Michael Kors purse. So fads come along every so once in a while. The latest one that I remember is Funko. People were defending it so hard that it was not a fad. It was not a fad. It was fairly obvious to me that it was a fad, but I kind of got sucked into their marketing of, oh, we're licensed with this many brands and this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, it was just a silly little doll, and that's cool if you like them. But Funko Pop was a fad, and GameStop needs to just move on. I'll just say that. So anyway, let me know down in the comments, are there any current stocks that are fads? Is Peloton a fad? Do they actually have a moat because the social aspect? And I will catch you guys in the next one. Don't forget, like and subscribe. It would help me a lot, and it would help you too, hopefully. Till next time.